Let's look at the last topic, changing moons. In this topic, we are going to learn about different phases of the moon. The moon is a bright object that we see in the sky. The moon revolves around the earth. Just like you have studied that the earth moves around the sun, the moon also moves around the earth. It does not have its own light. It reflects the sunlight that falls on it. You have learnt in previous blogs that the sun is a star. It has its own heat and light. Compared to that, the moon is not a star. It is a satellite and it does not have its own heat or light. As the sunlight falls on the moon, it reflects back on the earth. That's when we can see the moon in the sky shining bright. You can clearly see in the picture that as the sunlight hits the moon, it reflects. You can see in the picture that as the sunlight hits the moon, the same sunlight is reflected back to the earth. That's why when we see the moon, we see it as a bright object, even though it does not have its own light. The moonlight is reflected sunlight and nothing else. Half the moon's surface is always reflecting light. From Earth, we see different amounts of the moon's lit surface. In the left side, you can see different shapes of the moon that we usually see in the night sky. These are all called phases of the moon. As the moon revolves around the earth, it gets sunlight based on its position. Only that part is seen which receives the sunlight. That's why we see different phases or shapes of the moon. When the moon is between the earth and the sun, it does not receive any sunlight. When the moon is between the earth and the sun, the reflected sunlight does not reach the earth, so we can't see the moon. This is called a new moon. There may be nights when you look at the sky and you see that you can't see the moon and the night is pitch dark. Those are times when the moon is actually there in the sky but we can't see it because the sunlight that's falling on the moon does not reach the earth. When the earth is between the sun and the moon receives complete sunlight and the reflected sunlight reaches the earth and we can see the complete moon shining bright. That is called a full moon. Now, we can see a full moon only on certain nights because of the position of the moon. It happens with all the different shapes of the moon. Depending on where the moon is and how much sunlight it receives, we can see only that part of the moon. The moon takes 29 days to complete one revolution of the earth. So if we see a full moon on 1st October, the next full moon will be on 30th October because the moon will take exactly 29 days to make one revolution of the earth and reach the same spot. The same thing happens with the new moon and other phases of the moon. Every month we get a new moon and a full moon.